Hello, my friends. I hope you are having a fantastic week. Welcome back, or if this is your very first time here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. We are continuing from last week's topic. Don't worry if you missed last week's, I will include a link in the chat afterwards or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, where we talked about the 4 phases or stages of building a personal brand. And so today we're going to sort of start from scratch, essentially talk about that phase 1 where you are really building from the ground up, and talk about some of the things that may get people tripped up during this stage. But more importantly, I have 5 really practical tips for you. This goes beyond tips, actually. Like, this is game-changing stuff. Like, if I knew some of this when I was first getting started, I would have done things pretty differently, a lot of things quite differently in my business. So I'm really hoping they are genuinely valuable, because I am not about the fluffy, like, motivational advice that feels good in the moment and then you're like, what do I do with this? Like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think is going to help if you're in that stage. Before we dive in case we've never met, my name is Kat Elizabeth. If you're watching this live, make yourself known in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So I am a brand messaging strategist and coach. I help my clients really build profitable personal brands, in particular service-based entrepreneurs. I've been a copywriter for many, many years, and I have built my own brand from scratch. I was actually an actor before I became an entrepreneur, and I started my YouTube channel from zero and built it up to over 10,000 subscribers, and sort of built a coaching business and a course business from nothing and not really knowing what I was doing. And it did take me quite a while. And there are some things that I am doing now that I should have done so much earlier, but I just didn't know at the time, because there is so much information flying around. There is a lot of conflicting advice out there. And for someone just getting started, I mean, it seems like these days you're spoiled for choice. Like, every second person is a coach, is a course creator, is teaching brand and marketing strategy and business and how to make money. But the problem can be that you are absolutely bombarded and overwhelmed with information that you do not know where to start. And I see most people either trying to do everything or getting stuck doing nothing, because that's how it is. But anyways, I'm getting carried away because I've got plenty of tips for you. But what I wanted to first clarify is what this first stage really is all about. So today we're talking about industry's best kept secret. So remember, if you were here last week, you've got industry's best kept secret, then we move into personal brand in progress, then you're the go-to expert in your niche, and finally you become that in-demand brand. So this is phase 1. You're starting from scratch, but it could look a little different depending on who you are. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're completely building from scratch. Like, that could be one thing. You are building a side hustle or a business from zero. Like, maybe you just have the idea, or maybe you've just started trying to land clients. But this could also be that you're pivoting. So maybe you were doing something else and you were doing it pretty well, but you've decided to do a bit of a dramatic pivot, and it feels like you're starting from scratch, because you kind of need to rebuild your reputation as something else. So even though maybe you've got, money coming in, you've still got clients, you really want to be known as something else. So I would still kind of class you as industry's best kept secret if that's the case. And then it could also be that you've been in business for ages, but you never stop to really think about your brand. So yes, you've got happy clients, but you don't feel like you're actually acknowledged by anyone as that go-to expert. Like, you just still feel quite invisible, even though maybe you're making a decent enough living. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that this could apply no matter which situation you're in. It's basically if you just feel like someone who just still has such a long way to go, you still feel quite invisible, you haven't really found your voice, and you don't even feel like you really own that corner of the market. You don't feel like you really own your niche right now. You're just trying to find a way to fit in. So that is what this chat is going to be all about. So let's dive in. So I've got 5 really chunky pieces of advice for you. But the very first one, and this kind of always ties back to my own personal framework that I teach all of my clients, always starts with a pillar called Get Clear. If you do not know why you're doing what you're doing and where you want to take it, then it's really difficult for me to say, oh, well, this is what you should do next. Because like, how are you going to build a strategy if you don't, like, it's like picking up a map, but not knowing what city you want to end up in. Like, you've got a map, great. You could go literally anywhere, not super helpful. So my first piece of advice to you is, if you are at this stage where you are industry's best kept secret, I want you to actually decide, like, what is your goal for building a personal brand? Because not everyone has the same intention. Like, is it really just that, you want to get recognized and known for something? Like, you're trying to build a legacy? Is it that you're wanting to land way more clients for your business? Is it that you're hoping you could just really increase your prices? Like, what is this goal? Because the funny thing is, when we think about building a personal brand, I think one of the first things that can pop into mind is like, I need followers. Like, I need an amazing website. I need a social media following. I need lots of content. But here's the thing. If you're at this beginning stage and your goal is to make a living, to, replace a corporate income or replace the income that you're making from something else and to make it as a personal brand, well, then you actually don't necessarily need lots of followers or even a website to get started. Like, we just want to focus on landing clients and making money. So I want you to do that work. I want you to sit down and go, okay, what is my number one goal for my personal brand right now? Because that is going to help me decide whether, yes, it's really about becoming super visible straight away, sharing my story and trying to speak on stages. Maybe you're wanting to write a book, then yeah, that's kind of one path. But if your goal right now is to build a business where you make good money, then I don't want you getting really distracted, getting shiny object syndrome about all the things you need to create and be doing. I want you to bring it back to basics and focus on what is going to be point number 2, which is, and I'd love to know, by the way, like with where you're at, if you know what your goal is for your personal brand, you're watching this right now, can you let me know in the comments? I'd be really interested, because that's also going to help me know what kind of content to share with you moving forward. But let's move on to point number 2. I want you to, if let's say that your goal is to be some sort of service-based entrepreneur, and when I say service-based entrepreneur, I mean you're either doing a done-for-you service, like maybe a copywriter, a website designer, a photographer. It could be like you're a mortgage broker, an accountant, a real estate agent. Like, all of those are service-based offerings. Maybe you're going to be a coach, a consultant, a strategist. Okay, so if that is what you're connecting your personal brand to, and you want to build a profitable business that's connected to your personal brand, then I need you in this stage to actually set yourself up to serve. Don't stress about all the things that you could be doing and eventually probably will be doing. What you need to be doing right now is setting yourself up to be the best possible service provider you can be to your clients. And I will happily say that this is one of the only things that I did very well when I was getting started, because I honestly did not know what I was doing. And I think in a way it was almost like a blessing in that, I don't even think, was I on Instagram? I wasn't really active on Instagram. There was definitely less coaches and there was just less available teaching the things that are taught today. So I had to focus on the simple thing. And I was like, well, I need to make money. And to make money, I need clients. And to land clients, I need to do a really good job. And so that's what I focused on for my first year. I just took all the work I could possibly get, and I just started landing clients, getting experience. And very importantly, I don't want you just landing clients. I want you getting testimonials. I want you getting proof, social proof of what you do, because it's just incredible how that starts to really build momentum. It can snowball. And think about it. Like, if every single client you work with, you blow their minds and they end up telling 1, 2, 3 other people about you, before you know it, you've got referrals flowing your way. And that, honestly, referrals and being in a networking group where it was kind of also like a referral based group, that got me through my first year of copywriting. Like, I did not have a website. I was not on social media. I was doing nothing for my personal brand. So I know it sounds really counterintuitive because now I'm a personal branding coach, but I'm here to say that all this stuff is great. And eventually, like, there's a time and place for doing all of it. But when you are first getting started, I want you to just survive. I want you to get out of, being stressed out about money. And I want you earning a consistent income. And you're going to do that by landing clients and making them happy. And you don't necessarily need 10,000 Instagram followers to land clients and make them happy. A couple of other things that you could be doing that's also really important is you may not know what niche you want to be in at this stage. So if you go and set yourself up, you kind of just pick a random niche that kind of makes sense, and then you try and set yourself up as that person, and you're just showing up and talking about this stuff before you've really explored it. You could find that you've kind of cornered yourself a little bit. So I would rather you use this stage where you're not well known for anything in particular and explore niches, work with different kinds of clients in different kinds of areas, explore different ways of packaging your services, and start to discover what lights you up, what really excites you, what you do really well, where you're really in flow. Because then that gives you the chance in this kind of next phase, once you're moving into personal brand in progress, to start to really narrow down and go, okay, this is the corner of the market that I really want to dominate. I would also say at this point, it isn't yes and no, it's to do with branding, but sort your legals. If you are out there starting to land clients from the beginning, you need to have contracts in place. You need expectations and boundaries in place. These are the kinds of things that, some of the things that I learned the hard way. Honestly, as I've said, you can get away with not having a website and just having, sending people to a Google document with information on your services. I'm not saying you should present yourself unprofessionally or anything like that, but you'd be surprised at how simply you can do things, and before you know it, have happy clients, have money in the bank, testimonials and things are starting to roll, and then you get to start thinking about what's next. Okay, so that was point number 2. By the way, if you haven't yet taken my personal branding quiz, the What's Your Expert Status quiz, this is going to help you know what stage of the journey you're at, if you're wondering right now. So I'm just putting it up on the screen, but you can head to personalbrandingproject.co/quiz. It's completely free. And I give you a ton of free advice after taking it as well. So based on your results, I'm going to give you some kind of custom insight into this stage of the journey too. So make sure you go check that out. And let me know, report back. I'd love to know what result you got. So we'll get back to it. Tip number 3, you get to start thinking about a content strategy if you want. If you're landing some clients and you're I really want to be doing something to build a bit more momentum, absolutely start creating some content, but do it simply, okay? Do not jump on every single platform. You don't need to go launching a podcast right now or a YouTube channel or anything like that. Yes, my YouTube channel kind of led me to my coaching business, but I honestly, it's because I just didn't know what I was doing. I'd been copywriting for years when I launched my YouTube channel, so I definitely didn't do it at the beginning of my journey. I was not talking about anything to do with copywriting. I just started a YouTube channel kind of as a passion project, and eventually it led me to realizing I want to be a coach. I want to create courses. I want to teach people about personal branding. But again, I did not start the YouTube channel at the beginning of my journey. So if you are going to be creating a content strategy, I want you to pick one platform. I want you to use this time to just find your voice. Don't have everyone telling you have to post like this and just use my template and use this. I want you to find your voice, because if you can have that, honestly, you will be unstoppable in the future. And the number one thing that honestly, even experienced entrepreneurs can have trouble with, it's the thing that I've had to work on the most: get used to talking about what you do. Make it easy for people to know how to work with you. Don't just make it this I'm just going to share value, and then be oh, by the way, if you want to work with me, which is what most of us do, which means there is actually no point in showing up on that platform, because if it's not leading to clients, why are you actually doing it? I'm saying if you're doing this for personal branding reasons, totally different if you just want to have a passion project, hobby account, and you just share whatever you feel like sharing. That's great. Honestly, go for that. But if you are trying to be strategic and showing up on Instagram or LinkedIn or something, and all you're doing is kind of resharing other people's stuff, just sharing fluffy or even valuable content, but you never tell people what you do, how they can work with you, you don't share any social proof, you're not going to be able to land any clients from that. You've got to make it a little bit easier for people. So start practicing that now, because honestly, it took me years and years and years, and I'm still working on it. Still sometimes I have to remind myself, oh, you can't just keep assuming that people know what you do. Okay. Let's move on. Point number 4, and this is huge. If I had not done this, I would not be where I am today. You need to build a network. Find your people. Trust me when I say that entrepreneurship, especially online entrepreneurship, is a lonely old journey to go on, because even though you're surrounded by people online, really you're just here in your bubble. Most of the time, thank goodness I have a partner who keeps me sane, but otherwise, I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't leave the house. I wouldn't stop to eat probably. It's so easy to just get in this little bubble and just sit behind the computer, and before you know it, you're drained. You're really tired, you can get overwhelmed, and when something trips you up, it's really hard to get back on track. So it's really important for your mental health and emotionally for you to have this support, but also most of my work came from referrals and from partnering with other people. I was befriending so many people who were way more experienced than me, who actually had overflow of work, and I became their go-to to send work to. So I was booked out as a copywriter within a year of starting my copywriting business, which is huge. I was able, I think it was in my second year, I ended up earning as much as I did when I was performing in a professional musical, a commercial musical, okay, as a freelancer. So it just shows the power of network. So find yourself some people, whether you join a membership, whether you find some free groups, you pair up with a biz bestie. There are so many different ways you can, find that connection. But also something I highly recommend that I probably could have done better is find people in complementary industries to you. So, again, if you are, for instance, a copywriter, you should be befriending, website designers, graphic designers, even photographers, people that are helping serving the same audience that you want to serve, and sending work to each other, because there's it's the beautiful thing of reciprocity as well. Start by just sending people to people you trust. You don't have to wait for people to send you referrals. Just initiate and just show up genuinely with a spirit of service and generosity, and it will that will come back. That energy kind of just keeps flowing, and it's going to speed up the process of you getting found and getting those referrals. And then if you are on Instagram and you're friends with these people who are doing these things, why not hop on some lives, do some Q&As with their audience, interview each other, just start resharing each other's content. It can snowball really quickly as well there. So make sure you have some people and you are not going it alone for so many reasons. And then finally, number 5, and this is the one that, I just see so many people struggling because of how triggering it can be to log in to Instagram, to open up your podcast app and just be smacked in the face with just so much well-meaning advice, but that ends up taking you under. Whether it's the people who are ahead of you in the journey and you see them and there's all this comparisonitis and you just feel like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to be like that? If every time you see someone doing something, you feel this desperate need to do what they're doing, and then you try and skip ahead, or you get shiny object syndrome, oh, that person's on 3 different platforms and they already have an online course, I need to do that. You're going to take yourself out by getting caught up in that. But also, if you're following too many mentors and gurus who are all telling you all these different things, and you just start to feel anxiety at the thought of, oh my gosh, there's so much I'm not doing. They're saying I'm supposed to do this. They're saying I'm supposed to do this. Honestly, clear it all out. Whether you don't have to unfollow, even if you just mute people for a while. If anyone, when you see their posts, it kind of makes you feel contractive almost, you get this physical feeling of ugh, it doesn't make me feel good, then you don't need to be following them right now. It's not helping you in any way. And trust me when I say this, you can make so many mistakes. You can be not doing most of the things that people say you're supposed to be doing, and you can still find success, okay? There is no one road to success. That is why my style of teaching is very much about you crafting your own strategy once you have all the information, as opposed to saying, here's my scripts, here's all the templates, here's a step-by-step roadmap of I know you want a roadmap. And there is a roadmap. Like I'm saying, if you're at the very beginning of this, start with landing clients and becoming the best at what you do. okay? Because that is going to be so much more powerful than becoming the biggest Instagram influencer if you don't actually have any value to back that up. So there is a roadmap, but the thing that has been the most valuable from like to me through this entire journey was finally learning to trust my instincts, to really lean into my strengths instead of trying to focus on improving my weaknesses, really understanding my style of communication, my energy, like all of that has then helped me start to show up more authentically. I know we hate that word, but it's that's the word I'm looking for. Show up, as me on social media. It's helped me shape my offerings and shape my niche into a way that, keeps me excited and energized and connecting with the right people. And when I was just trying to do it the way that everyone else was doing it, or by that guru or that person that I aspired to be like, something was off. It just wasn't working. And I always end up having to go back and fix things and redo things. So now the thing I'm trying to help you, like this is the leg up I'm really hoping I can give you, more than any of the strategy, more than the growth hacking and all of that. I hope you will learn that you have so much more wisdom inside you than you actually realize, and you are so much more equipped to do what you want to do already than you think you are. You need less courses than you think, you need less hand holding than you think. You don't need to be following a million different people on Instagram and listening to podcasts 24/7. They can be great to a point, but sometimes we start to get overloaded and we consume more than we create, and that is what becomes the most problematic. So I really hope that some of this advice today has proven helpful. I'd love to know what resonated the most. I'll do a quick recap for you, especially if you are tuning in late to this. So we've got the 5 different points that I gave you, which is number 1, set a goal for your personal brand. Know why you're doing this at all so that you know what step to take next. You're focusing on just getting known for something, or you really genuinely wanting to build a profitable personal brand. Set yourself up to serve. So focus on landing clients, getting testimonials, exploring different ways of offering things and niches, getting your legals sorted, and knowing that you can land clients easier than you actually think. Like, you don't need all the bells and whistles. Number 3 was simple content strategy only. Pick a platform and get really good at talking about what you do. And number 4, build a network. So don't go this alone. Find yourself emotional support, professional support, like from a mentor, and make sure that you start partnering with other people in your industry, in complementary industries, so you can all lift each other up and find success together. Because trust me, there is enough to go round, honestly. And number 5, choose who you follow wisely. Okay, if anyone triggers you, just mute, unfollow. You don't need that in your life. Like, we need to just keep you feeling positive and excited about what you're doing, because it's incredible and you have so much more available to you inside than what is going on outside, believe it or not, once you start to trust yourself. Beverly's saying that no one road to success. Yeah, and honestly, there are so many different people out there who on the surface have very similar looking businesses, like similar offerings, similar amounts of money. And if you look at the back end of their business, they've all gone about it different ways. They've taken different amounts of time to get there. Some of them are very minimalist. Some of them do all the things. Some of them have a tiny team. Some of them have a huge team. Some are focused on Instagram, some on LinkedIn, some aren't even on social media. So don't let anyone tell you that you have to do something a certain way. I want you to test it out for yourself and start trusting that you probably know what's best for you. And if you don't, find yourself a mentor who's going to help you find the answers for yourself, ask those questions, and not shove one rigid strategy down your throat, because that's not going to serve you in the long run. All right, I think that's enough for this week. But next week we are going to be moving into personal brand in progress. So what to be really focusing on once you have kind of established yourself, as in you've got the clients, you've got some money coming in, and you're starting to feel pretty clear on what you want to focus on. Where to from there? What do you do next? So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you haven't taken the quiz yet to find out what stage of the personal branding process you're in, head to personalbrandingproject.co/quiz. To everyone watching the replay, just put Team Replay in the chat. So good to see some of you here live today. Have a fantastic Friday, or I think it's like Thursday afternoon for some of you. Great weekend. Or if you're watching this in the future, well then, never mind. But thanks for being here. Hope this was helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.